Hello, 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 amigas, and welcome to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast. I have a beautiful soul here with me today. Her name is Norma Garcia. She's a licensed clinical social worker, the love and relationship coach. Ooh, I can't wait to talk about that. Somatic therapist and holistic healer. And I had the privilege of working with her not too long ago, last month, as a matter of fact, at Dual Scope Pilates, which is owned by my cousins, Sylvia and Raquel Tapia, and she was our healer. And I did a process called the Divine Wealth Manifestation process, and it was just so synergetic. It was amazing. She took us through an amazing healing process with a sound bath, and I fell in love, obviously, and that's why she's here. So I'm excited to have you here, Norma. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast.
Thank you so much, Jackie. It's such an honor to be here. When you extended the invitation, it was the easiest yes.
Well, I the feeling was very mutual. I mean, it was like love at first sight.
Yeah.
And so, you know what, Norma, I know that you're probably known in your circles, but for those of us that are not familiar with who you are, Norma, tell us, like, where are you from? Are you Latina? Obviously you are. I mean, I see you, but I want the amigas that are listening to this podcast to know about who Norma is as a kid and then growing up. So take us away.
Yes, beautiful. Again, it's such an honor to be here, to be able to, stand here with you as a first-gen Latina, proud Mexicana. Both of my parents migrated from Mexico, so I carry that in my heart, in my roots. It's what I breathe. So I'm just honored to be able to share this space with another, Latina, poderosa, passionate, and for you to be able to create this beautiful platform, right? To share our stories, to share our voices. So I'm so happy that today I get to share a bit of myself. And so I am born and raised in Los Angeles, specifically San Fernando Valley area.
Woo,
That's
the Valley girl.
Valley, the 818. This is where my home is, right? This is where both of my parents migrated to. So I am an Angelino to the heart. I love Los Angeles. I love the culture. I love that even living here in California, there's so much culture and ethnicity. So I love that even though I'm not in Mexico, right? I still get a piece of that. And what's beautiful is a lot of work that I do is within my community, within the Latina, within the Hispanic community. A lot of my work is centered around helping mujeres. We'll get more deeper into exactly what it is that I support them with, but really being able to grow with my family stories, right? Their immigration really has inspired me to do the work that I do, which, as you mentioned, I am a licensed clinical social worker. I'm a multi-passionate healer, so I also do love and relationship coaching, sound bath healing, amongst other things as well. And really, my parents' story, right, as many of us, right, really has inspired me to be in the profession that I am, right, to help individuals and families like my own who growing up, right, went through, right, assimilation, right, went through even just specifically like around like mental health, right, the struggles between mental health within the family, the lack of resources, knowledge, education as a first gen, right, there's a lot of things that my parents weren't able to help me with, right? They were able to provide financially, provide home, security. But when it came to education, when it came to, bettering myself, all they can tell me was like, mija, échale ganas, estudia, trabaja, and that's exactly, what I took from them. And I ran with it. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we're doing this. Growing up, my dream was always to go to UCLA and to remember as a little niña, going to, field trips to different schools. When I first stepped on campus at the UCLA campus, I was like, this is where I need to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I carried my parents' sacrifice, their hard work, their working class, and they allowed me just to focus on my studies, right? So I made sure that I studied. I had mentors, right? I had people that believed in me,
Yeah.
believed in me, guided me, supported me, and all of that has led me, to then eventually make it to my dream school, and then also be able to go there again for the second time to get my master's in social welfare. So I share this because I was able to get there because of the sacrifices of my parents. Um, and knowing that within those sacrifices, right, there's a lot that comes with it. It's very layered, right? The
Oh, yeah.
struggles. Um, and so yeah, so this is kind of like where obviously since then a lot has happened too in terms of, transitioning from working, in the corporate world versus now being an entrepreneur. And even that in itself carrying a lot of just also, so much accomplishment, right? Um, that has came right from a place of how can I make my parents proud? How can I continue
Mm-hmm.
their legacy? How can I continue, right, breaking generational, right, cycles, traumas, patterns, right? So,
Yeah.
there's so much I
Yeah.
can share, but
Well, we're gonna hear it all. We're gonna hear it all. So I love that you manifested attending UCLA, not once but twice. That's incredible. I know. I mean, I think I manifested too. I decided I got accepted to UCLA. This is back in the '90s, and but my first school was USC.
oh,
So obviously, I went to USC. So not just kidding. No rivalry here. We're all love, peace, love. Anyhow, but it's I always think back when I went to get my bachelor's, which was back in '92. Seems so long ago, which it is. I was one of very few people of
mhm,
brown faces on
yeah,
campus. And I just recently went to my friend's graduation receiving her doctorate at UCLA. I mean, UCLA, I'm sorry, at USC. And I saw the multitude, like, oh my God,
mhm,
there were so many women,
wow,
so many men, young professionals receiving their degrees. And I thought, okay, we're on to something. We're on to something. And in that, the fact that a lot of us were first gens, a lot of us, right? And we set the stage and the
mhm,
tone, but we also bring our traumas,
yes,
our struggles, all those things in this moment, even though it's so beautiful and excellent, and we have the support that is, that we want, that we need, there's still those other uncertainties that
mhm,
are happening as a professional. So you mentioned that you went to the corporate space. So I bet there was some uncertainty in getting into the corporate space. So tell us a little bit, like how did you make that move from education to
yes,
corporate life?
yes, no, it's been a journey, and especially for me, I've always been like, the good girl, right? You do what you're told to do, you kind of, you know, follow the rules, right? So especially with my degree, right, within social work, the push is, right, like once you graduate, you go into, right, Department of Mental Health, you work for the county. That's the path that's created for us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So, you know, having graduated, right, and even then, I didn't go right into social work. It took me some time to figure out like what exactly I wanted to do. Actually, originally I was pre-med, so I thought I was going to be a doctor,
Hmm.
and things changed. Um, but even going from like going to school and then going out to like the professional world, right? It was a real awakening, and it became very real too, especially since my focus was mental health,
Yeah,
right? I went into like, wow, like mental health, it's so existent, it's relevant. And even then, right, the lack of resources, the lack of support, right? Very, very little of us doing this like heavy, heavy work. And
yeah.
when I was in corporate, I did 10 years of community mental health. So what that means is really working with underserved, low income families, um, that were struggling, right? Not just with like mental health, right? Housing issues, transportation,
Um,
right? So all the parts of having to live, and working with individuals that look like me, that look like my family, that are all trying to live the American dream, right?
yes,
So I
yeah,
was told what to do, right? I went into that, because that's just what I thought was the next thing to do, right?
yeah.
But the beautiful part of it was that because I was working with my community, right, I felt that I was doing something. I was working
Yeah,
towards something. So
right.
it was a rewarding process. However, now, right, being that I'm out of it, I can see too, right, the mindset, right, the scarcity mentality, right, the overworking, being overburned, having a high amount of caseloads with multitude of, struggles and severely mentally challenged individuals. And it's like,
Yeah.
what is at that time when I graduated from my master's, I was like 25. So it's like, is a 25-year-old Latina, woman, how am I going to support these families, right? So
Yeah,
even with
yeah.
that, like a lot of like, imposter phenomenon coming in, right? Like, how am I going to support them, right? At that time, it's like, I'm not a mom either. So why would I support them with their family and the kids, right? So it was very challenging. And then
No,
having to deal with the bureaucracy and the
oh,
expense and the demand.
yeah, no, I can imagine. It's, when you're a young professional, and then how are you taken seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, you look so young. The same thing happened when I became a lawyer. It was like, you're a lawyer?
Yeah.
And it was funny because I'm like, yeah, I am, and I can actually solve your problem. So
Yeah.
it's, yeah. So but it is scary because here you are as this young vivacious individual, you feel very carrying the weight of the world, and then also at the same time feeling like, do I even belong here?
Yeah.
So at what moment did you ever feel comfortable
It
in
took
leading
time.
that?
It took time. It took time, with, the specifically with, the work that I was doing. A lot of it too is like building confidence, right? Getting skilled, right? My clinical skill set, right? Getting the support. I couldn't do it alone. I could not do it alone, especially because of just the heaviness and again the multitude of things we were having to to deal with, and it just wasn't, at that time it was 30 to 40 clients or cases at a time.
Wow.
And again, it was a demand, right? Because we had to meet productivity, we had to meet numbers. So it's like in the beginning it was a lot of just doing the work, right? But then eventually getting burnt out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So common.
Yes.
So
And the
common.
burnout was eventually what led me to go into entrepreneurship.
Okay. Tell us about that
Yeah,
transition, which I'm sure, like when you said, "Peace out, I'm done."
yeah.
Like I'm sure this burden was lifted because I mean, how old were you when this happened? When you said
I
it's done, I'm done. Like I'm
I
taking off.
I'm 38 now. I think I've been 2 years. So 35, 36.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you were there for a while, huh?
So yeah, I was there for like 10 years
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
that. And then I also was really involved in like crisis work. So responding to risk assessments in the community. So that, right? And then the job before that, I was in a school setting, and that was during the time when COVID was happening, and I was at a high
Jeez.
school. So, kids coming back, right? Anxious, depressed, high risk level,
Yeah.
and just having to hold the space for,
Ooh.
and then again, because I have been doing this for like, 10 years, at some point it's like, yeah, I burned out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't hold this all together.
Yeah.
And at one point I was doing my full-time job, and that's when I started my private practice. So I was doing both.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Until
Oof.
I was like, something's got to give. And so I decided to bet on myself. And it
Yes.
was hard because, again, I was in that scarcity, like safety, like I'm always going to be a 9 to 5 girly. It's all I know how to do.
Yeah.
No one was telling me, like, what else is out there,
Right.
right? My parents couldn't tell me, mija, like, why don't you start your own business, right? They were just like, you get a paycheck? Great. You have
Yeah.
insurance? Great. Security.
Yeah. Yeah. First psychological need.
And entrepreneurship, right? Like it's there's security, right? But it looks different.
Yeah.
It
No.
was
Oh my
scary.
God.
It was
Yeah.
so scary.
I bet because I mean you don't even know where the clients are going to come from.
No.
So what did you do? So did you set up practice in LA? What walk us through that?
Yeah. So I was working full time, and so I started my private practice. So for me, it was like, okay, I gotta have an exit plan, right? I can't just leave. So it took time preparation, like financially, my support. So part of that was like already starting my practice, already starting the foundation, so that when I transitioned, it wouldn't feel like I'm starting from scratch. So I gave myself some space and some time to kind of see what it was like, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
initially, I started with an office, right? I started with an office and virtual. And the one thing about COVID,
Yeah.
where it really benefited therapists, is that telehealth became an option. And
Yes.
prior to
Yes.
that, it wasn't. So that really changed the game.
Yeah.
And something about me is that I love freedom. So, in the course of, my profession, I've always also been a traveler. So
Okay.
I travel a lot. And again, being, first gen, and my parents are, they're not travel, so I've been able to travel to like over 45 countries. So there's a lot that I've been able to do because of, what my parents were able to, to pay for me. So I share that because in the process of, working, right, the have to, request time off. And when I would travel, I would like to take like 2, 3 weeks. And so I wanted to find something that was going to match my life. For me, it was about my quality of life.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that sense of freedom, especially because I worked in the school system, so I got a taste of like having all the time off, the breaks. So when I thought about private practice, entrepreneurship, you know, that was a one thing, like freedom of my time, freedom of my location, and then even financially.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Entrepreneurship has so many benefits,
Yeah.
so many benefits. And I encourage everyone who has that nudge to do it if they can. Obviously, there are impediments and there are things that could stop you from doing that. Mainly surviving. Like if there's no money coming in, how are you going to survive, right? Yeah,
Oh
that is,
yeah, yeah.
it's very scary,
The
definitely.
first 6 months, I was ready to run back.
Yeah, no.
I
Yeah,
was
but
ready
you
to run back.
you
Hmm.
stuck it through. So tell us, now that you have your private practice, and I know there's so many areas that you can jump into.
Yes.
And I know that one of the areas that I see here is that you're a love and relationship coach.
Mhm.
So, why?
Yeah.
And how
Ooh.
did that start?
Yes, yes. So for me, entrepreneurship, right, and private practice really has it allowed me to expand and explore, right? So again, in working, right, for corporate, you do what they tell you to do,
Right.
right? This is what the way it's going to look like. This is how you're going to approach. So you're kind of boxed in. Still a lot of great tools and trainings that you get out of it.
Yeah.
But for me, entrepreneurship has been a spiritual journey as well, where I get to also explore, well, how do I want to show up as a healer? How do I want to hold space? And thinking about, the clients that I really loved working with, right? Initially, I would do a lot of breakup
Mm.
support. And that was inspired by my own breakup healing journey, where, like I shared, that when I went through my breakup, a year later, that's when I quit my job. I packed my bags and I did a solo traveling 6.5 month tour around the world.
Mm,
And
nice.
seeing just my evolution in that, and how that helped me heal, not just the breakup, but it brought up also like generational, right, patterns and cycles, and the kind of relationships I was in and who I was attracting, and how I was people pleasing and how I was abandoning myself. So that was kind of like the turning point for me. I was like, okay, there's something here. There's something about this story,
Yeah.
right? So initially it was that, right? Like my own breakup story inspired me to help other individuals that are going through a breakup. And then just recently, I did rebrand into the love and relationship coaching,
Okay.
just because it aligns exactly where I'm at.
Okay. I see.
Right.
Yeah.
The story of the breakup happened like 8 years ago, so it just wasn't resonating. It wasn't aligning with my frequency of where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
transitioned into, providing, right, support to single mujeres, right, like myself, Latinas, right, who, also want love,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Want
Mm-hmm.
a relationship, right? However, part of this work too that I had to realize is, really understanding our love blueprint.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where do we learn what love means? Where healthy relationships are? And I don't know about you, Jackie, but I grew up on telenovelas, on the fantasy, right? You got
Girl,
to love
I
for
still
the
do. Oh,
sacrifice.
I know. I still do. I'm so excited that La Reina del Sur is going to be coming soon.
Ooh,
Now, part four. You know what I mean? I love novelas. Oh my God.
no, so did I. Like I watched them religiously. No, at this time I have my novela. And the protagonists become like your idols.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
idolize them, and then obviously what you see at home too, in terms of like how your parents are like showing love or not to each other, right?
Yeah.
Like in my family, there was no
Not.
affection, no emotions, right? So seeing this, telenovela is like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like that's the kind of love that I want,
Oh, yeah.
And
Yes.
even for those that are not telenovelas, lovers, there's still something there in terms of like, well, where do we learn what love is and how to love
Yeah.
and how to show up? And for me, a lot of that I had to learn on my own through like relationships, through like my trainings, um, in which I also had to work through my own narratives and stories and what was showing up about me and who I was attracting,
Yeah.
the nervous system that comes into place here, right? That going from like survival, right, to a place of more like safety,
Yeah.
security. So I really found a lot of my clients too that were also mirroring that same process. And so I thought, like, this is exactly what is in alignment and in frequency in terms of like where I'm at and
Yeah.
how I want to support and be able to normalize it.
Right.
Right? Be able to
Right.
normalize, right? What it means to also meet, what it also means to be a single mujer, Latina, in your 30s,
Yes.
right? The
Yeah.
traditional values versus also like modern days, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And how do you navigate that?
Right.
So for
Well,
me,
yeah.
I love this. I love it, you know, and I love that it's not just about like let's meet your partner. No, yes, that is part of the outcome, but really is about how can you become the woman to receive, right, the life that you want,
Yeah.
the relationship that you want, the
Yeah.
career that you want.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And it would be amazing if all single ladies would actually have that education as a tool to
Mm,
not just pick someone just because it's the only one available at that point in time,
yeah,
or even just to notice the red flags,
yeah,
you know, and have the love within your heart for you first
yes, yeah.
to be able to have the resonance of like, maybe this person is not right for me.
Yeah. And a lot of it's conditioning, right? Conditioning, cultural, societal, especially like where you are, right? My mom tells me like el tren ya se te va, you know, like ahorita antes con quien quieras, ahorita con quien puedas, you know? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's real messaging that is real, right?
yeah, yeah,
And even though we're talking about single mujeres, right, this is also true for, you know, mujeres that are in relationships or are in their marriages,
yeah.
right? Of discovering, like, wait, who am I in this relationship?
Right. Yeah, and as time goes by, because I mean I've been married now 18 years, and I met my husband in 1995, but I did, you know, it was I did not get him. I mean I dated him, and there was see you later, Gator, and then years later we reconnected,
Mm-hmm.
but you know it just wasn't time. It wasn't our time back then.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do my own personal growth, but even back then it was there's a lot of tension because I'm growing and I don't even know myself what I
Yeah.
want,
Yeah.
right? And so it took a lot. I mean, there's been peaks and there's been
Mm-hmm.
valleys, and having to navigate at every stage because it changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you got to grow, but you got to grow together.
Yeah. Either you're going to grow together or you're going to grow apart, you know? And
Yeah.
something that, you know, I feel that we're not taught is that relationship with yourself, right? Sometimes it takes like something pivotal, like some pain to wake you up. And that's what it was for me. Like my breakup woke me up to be
Yeah.
like, wait, what's actually happening here? Right? Who am I? What do I like? You know, it's like a constant like rediscover, right? And building that relationship like with yourself. And especially as Latinas, right? What are we conditioned to? Others
No,
first.
you take care of everybody else,
Yes.
right? That and yeah, and it seems counterintuitive when you decide that you're going to pick you first
Yeah.
because you've been told that no, pues tienes acá esta persona primero, or you know, it's always servicing everybody else and putting you last.
Yeah.
And especially when you're a mom, it's
Yeah.
even more so,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I love what you're doing, and I hope that many more amigas can find you and hire you.
Mhm.
But you know, I know that at some point, I don't know where you weaved in the somatic
Yes.
therapy. So can you explain that to us? For those amigas that don't know what that means,
Hmm.
can you give us like, you know, just a little tidbit of what somatic is?
Yeah, yeah. So if I can even just even take a little step back and differentiate, right, therapy versus coaching briefly,
Uh-huh.
because they're two different approaches.
Right.
So therapy, it's more of like processing, right? Going into like maybe your childhood, your past, uncovering, right? Sitting with, um, if there is like any like underlying mental health, right? That's part of it. Coaching is more solution focused, action oriented, right? We really want to get to, the thing that we want. With therapy, you can also do that. It's a process, right? It's a process. It's like deeper issues that we're working through, right? So,
Right.
what I've been able to do, right, as a therapist, right, is and part of my entrepreneurship, right, is get trained or learn new strategies and tools that again feel in alignment of how I live my life, right? So, um, when I was going through my healing journey, all my healing was just mindset, my mind, right? Changing your thoughts, working through your thoughts is all here. And until I also started doing my own therapy and working with also like a somatic therapist. And somatic, the word soma means body, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
now, as we are talking about our mind, right, I realize how much my own body was disconnected to my mind. And this is true for a lot of the clients that I work with, right? There's that disconnection. So for me, it was an invitation of like, oh, let me learn more about the body. Like, what do you mean about the body connection? So that's where I started my journey in specifically receiving training and experiences of like, how do we work with the body? How do we reconnect with our body in terms of our feelings, right? A lot of us intellectualize a lot, right? We can say like, I feel sad, I feel mad, right? But somatic, it means, okay, so with that emotion, where is it in your body?
Yeah.
How does it feel, right? So it's really being able to connect them both, right? And really understand and sit with our body keeps the score. Our body stores everything,
Yeah.
every emotion, every experience, every sensation, right? So a lot of times our body tells us
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
need, right?
Right. Right.
But we don't know how to listen to it, right? We don't know how to tend to it. And especially we think about like even also like rest, right? When you're in survival, we don't rest,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Um, and so for me, like somatic has been, being able to, whether it's through therapy or through coaching or even like the sound healing, right? Is being able to help you, right, sit with your body, be present, connect,
Yeah.
right? And then if we want to talk this about like, also like mind, body, spirit, right? Then also, okay, your soul, right? Like what makes your soul on fire? What makes it, light up? So, and this is where the holistic comes in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The support isn't just like one part of it. We have to look at all the parts of you, including your body.
Yes, the totality
Yes.
is so important
Yes.
because we're not pieces.
No.
We're not piece head, piece body. No, no, we are all holistic.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
I agree completely with you. That is exactly how I handle my life and what I do in my with Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast, with the things that I have been able to do. It's bringing your whole self completely.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And like your nervous system, right? Your nervous system is part of the it's part of the equation here,
Yes.
right?
So Amiga, I there's a couple of things before we I let you go because I know we're at the tail end. How can we find you? How can anyone find you?
So I'm in different, my main platform is Instagram. So my handle is normally underscore healing. Um, and then also through like my website, which maybe you can
Yeah.
add in like in the caption. But if not, I
Yes.
can share it's www.norma-garcia.com. Those are the kind of like the main places
Okay.
that you can find me. And of course, if anyone has any questions, for therapy, I can only work with individuals that are in California.
Okay.
However, with the coaching, right, that's you could be anywhere.
Right.
It's more accessible.
Yes. Yes.
And
Absolutely. We're going to share that in the show notes.
yeah, and then the sound, bath healing, which yes, I'm still like I'm still, like in that energy of the event that we had because it was just so beautiful.
So magical.
Yeah, so the sound bath, I prefer to do it in person, but I
Yeah.
there is also some like opportunity for like virtual as
Oh,
well. And all the things that I do, right? It's about, regulating your nervous system, coming back to your body, coming back to your wisdom, your truth, right? Healing your patterns, be able to just embody, right? The worthy, right, mujer that you already are.
yeah. Yeah. You are. You're complete. You're complete.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So, one of the things that I like to do on Amiga Handle Your Shit is if my when my guest is on the mic, I always ask them if they could provide like a tip, one or two tips on how an Amiga can handle her shit.
Mm.
Can you share a
Yeah.
tip?
Yeah,
Yes, please.
absolutely. Yes. And I love the name of your podcast. I love
Thank
it.
you.
If you're like just pouring it out, like let's do it, you know. Um, so what I can, since we did highlight a bit of like, the somatic, right? I definitely, want to give guidance and on how to connect to your body in the most, simple way. So whenever it is that you are experiencing an emotion, right? And typically the emotions come through when we're triggered,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Situation happens, something within us, right? It's like being, triggered, and it's about listening to the physical, right, parts of ourselves, right?
Right.
So what I like to do is wherever that part is, I like us to kind of bring the physical connection to that. Okay. So one technique I'm gonna share is called the butterfly hug. Okay.
Mm.
So just as the name says, right, you put your hands into a butterfly, right? And so we put the butterfly on our chest. Again, we want that connection, right? We want to feel our body, right? So again, whenever it is that you're feeling your emotion, right? It could be worry, anxiety, tension. Sometimes it can also be positive behaviors. Like we just don't have to focus on like what doesn't feel good,
Right, right,
right?
right.
So we connect with our own hands, it's kind of like we're hugging ourselves, right?
Yeah.
This butterfly is called, it's a bilateral strategy stimulation, meaning that you allow your left and your right brain to communicate
Mm-hmm.
by tapping your left and your right. So as you put your hands here, with a gentle, you begin tapping left and right, left and right, in a very slow, rhythmic, right? You want to kind of like ease and calm, right? And as you do this, you also want to invite some nice deep breaths. So inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. So as you're doing that, right, you're like again, it's like you're installing, right? You're connecting. And if you also want to add an affirmation, right? So as we're here, we're taking a deep breath in. Hold it for a moment. And then when you exhale, you can pair it with an affirmation. I am safe to receive. I am worthy as I am. This emotion will pass. And you do it as long as you need to, right? Preferably a few minutes to really feel that shift,
Yeah.
change. And I love this technique because it's super easy. And again, it feels like you're like,
Hugging.
you're
Yeah.
just hugging
You're
yourself.
hugging your little heart.
Yeah.
Oh, I love like the flutter of the wings.
Mhm.
Oh, I
Mhm.
could totally see that happening in nature
Yeah.
and how you bring it back to you.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Mhm. And
Oh,
it's also using your own, you are your own source of healing, right? In your
Yes.
own body, right? Sometimes we want like external things that's gonna help me. I'm gonna do that. It's just
Yes.
kind of like going inward. Like, how can I support myself?
Yes. Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for my butterfly hug.
I
I loved it.
everyone, even again when something good has happened, oh, that felt so good. Oh my gosh, like that was amazing. It's a way of installing connect,
Installing, yes, yeah.
allowing your body
Anchoring it,
to feel that.
anchoring it,
Yeah.
yeah. Anchoring it to your body, your soul, your emotion, everything. My jam. I love it. Love, love. Well, Norma, this is so
Um,
amazing. Thank you so much. We're going to put your information in the show notes. And I am just so excited that you're here. And I know I'll see you again. Thank you
yes, yes.
so
Oh, thank
much.
you so much. I had so much fun here, and again, thank you for allowing me to share a piece of me. My intention is just if I whatever I can do to help, support you, whether it's listening to the podcast or actually working together or me be able to provide support. And I look forward to more collaborations, Jackie,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
there's so much magnetism that we've been able to create.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Yes. Your words to God's ears. I'm in love. I'm in
Yes. And
love.
by the way, your manifestation
Uh-huh.
exercise that you guided us with, oof,
Ah.
it has been so powerful.
Oh, well, thank you for that. I love doing that exercise and I've so many amigas have after they do the work, the whole 3 months
Yeah.
to the T, they have expressed what has come through. And like it could be so fast. It starts working so fast.
Yeah.
Like one of my amigas who actually was there with us, she was like she's been like getting all these clients like fast and furious. And I'm like, see, you do the work and you just allow it to happen. That's it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Allow it to
Again,
happen.
thank you so much, Jackie. It was
Thank you,
an
Norma.
honor. And thank you also all the amigas who are tuned in and listening.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Norma. And I look forward to seeing you again.